Hi there, Evan here at the Chronicle, where the future starts today. For August 30th, 2019, what I want to talk about today was consumer sentiment down in the US after they had their first rate cut in July, and what I think is going to happen in Canada after we have our first rate cut, which by the looks of it will be in the fourth quarter of this year. I'll overlay a chart now. This is the correlation between the University of Michigan consumer sentiment and the stock market. And as you can see here, there is a general correlation between the two where they both will move in the same direction. But July and August have been very weak, as you can see here, right at the end of that chart. Now here's my theory. As I've said in previous videos, as the first rate hike causes the euphoria, the first rate cut tells Main Street things aren't as good as they seem, and they start to worry. July was weak, August was weak. July was when the rate cut happened. And the month they had the rate cut, and the month after, they've both been very weak. So what do I think is going on? How do I interpret it? Main Street's starting to figure out things aren't as good as what's being told out there. And in the fourth quarter in Canada, when we have our first rate cut, the same thing I think is going to happen here. I wanted to leave it quick. So my point is, watch the Canadian economy after whenever our first rate cut happens, which looks likely in the fourth quarter, could be sooner, could be later. But after the fourth quarter, that's when the real downturn is going to start. That's when Main Street across Canada is going to start realizing that it isn't glory, it isn't the boom days, like the media has been saying the last couple of days. In fact, there was a report from an RBC economist this morning that the housing downturn is over. In fact, I'll overlay it on the screen here for you. Again, when the first rate cut happens, you're going to start seeing the real pain after that. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to mention to me, Evan, but the Bank of Canada also cut rates in 2015. I've been steadfast on here saying that was the worst policy decision the Bank of Canada has ever made. Because they cut rates when the economy was doing fine. They used the rationale of the oil plunge as a drag on overall growth, when the resource side of the economy is only 6% of the overall economy itself in Canada. Real estate, even at that time, was over twice that. So in that one there, it's an exception to the rule because things were still chugging along fine. The inflows that come into a real estate market already. In fact, that would accelerate after the Chinese capital flight in 2015 also, which then led to further FOMO, which actually then just led to even bigger gains, which is what the rate cuts actually caused in the first place. But the rate cuts here, think about it. They're cutting rates long after the downturn's already started. For Canada's sake, the downturn really started in the fourth quarter of 2017. In the US, the downturn there started right around the third quarter of last year. They're beginning the rate cut cycle long after the downturn's already started, and with the time it takes to filter those rate cuts through the economy, it's too late to stop a recession at this point. And even through that time, we've heard all over the business media, oh, things are great. Oh, the market's doing better than expected. Meanwhile, it's not. So without me rambling on too much, no matter what you hear in the media, the first rate cut is going to start the real downturn. That's all I'm going to say. Smash that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, follow both my Twitter accounts, and as always, my name is Evan. This is the McChronicle, where the future starts today.